What if I told you this? The most dangerous battlefield you'll ever step onto is inside your own head. Not your workplace. Not society. Not even the people who hurt you. Every day, without noticing, we hand out pieces of our peace to the smallest things. A message seen but not replied ruins our mood. A stranger's opinion on social media makes us doubt ourselves. One mistake, just one, can turn into hours of self-criticism. We scroll. We compare. We react. And somewhere along the way, we forget the steady, quiet strength we used to have. Not because life became harder, but because we became more breakable. The truth is uncomfortable. Most people aren't living, they're absorbing. Absorbing stress. Absorbing judgment. Absorbing pressure. Absorbing noise. The Stoics saw this long before smartphones existed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line isn't a quote. It's a shield. A weapon. A doorway to a different way of thinking. Because the moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, the moment you stop letting external chaos dictate your internal world, you stop being fragile. Today, we're going to walk through 8 Stoic principles, rewritten for the modern world, that can reshape your mindset so deeply that nothing, and no one, can shake your peace again. This isn't motivational fluff. This is mental armor. If you're ready, whisper to yourself, "I am ready to rebuild." Let's begin. 1. Welcome discomfort, before life forces it on you. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Most people fear discomfort so much that they never realize discomfort is the very thing that could save them. We treat cold, silence, hunger, loneliness, or uncertainty as curses. We run from them, avoid them, soften our days to escape them. But in doing so, we also weaken the very muscles, mental and emotional, that life expects us to use. We seek convenience in everything. Faster delivery, softer beds, quicker dopamine. And yet, each layer of comfort makes us more sensitive, more reactive, more fragile. Think about how absurd it is. A buffering video can irritate us. A delay of 5 seconds feels like suffering. A minor inconvenience can ruin the entire morning. But here's the reality that modern life tries to hide. Comfort is a slow-acting sedative. It numbs your edge. It steals your resilience. It convinces you that hardship is abnormal, when hardship is actually the default state of life. The Stoics understood a principle we've forgotten. Strength grows only through resistance. Seneca wrote something powerful. The man who rehearses troubles in advance robs them of their power. Meaning, when you voluntarily step into discomfort, you become immune to being destroyed by it later. Marcus Aurelius didn't become strong because he lived an easy life. He became strong because he faced war, betrayal, illness, and still trained his mind to stay steady. Look at your own life. The moments that shaped you, were they the easy ones? Of course not. Growth arrives wearing the mask of difficulty. That breakup changed you. That failure redirected you. That disappointment taught you. That loss matured you. Discomfort is the doorway to your next version. Every cold shower, every early morning, every discipline you choose when you don't feel like it, is you forging yourself. The modern world says, avoid what hurts. Stoicism says, train with it. Because when you choose discomfort on your own terms, you stop being terrified of the discomfort life throws at you. Start small. Take the cold shower. Sit still without touching your phone. Face the conversation you've been avoiding. Do the task your mind begs you to postpone. Each small act sends a message to your brain. I am not afraid of hardship. And once your mind learns that, you become someone new. Not hardened, but sharpened. Not numb, but stable. Not emotionless, but unshakable. Your action for today. Pick one tiny discomfort and step into it willingly. No hesitation. No negotiation. 2. If you don't lead your emotions will lead you. You can master finances, strategy, discipline, and every success habit on the internet. But if you can't master your emotional responses, you'll always feel like you're losing a battle you can't describe. Most people forget something simple. Emotions are signals, not instructions. But the moment they appear, we treat them as orders. Someone disrespects us, we erupt. Plans go wrong, we panic. A small inconvenience, suddenly the entire day feels ruined. But the enemy isn't the situation. The enemy is the story we attach to it. Epictetus said, "It's not events that disturb us, but the meanings we assign to them." And if you understand that, you unlock a kind of freedom most people never experience. We live in a world obsessed with reacting. People vent online before thinking, defend themselves before listening, argue before understanding. Somewhere along the way, we confused emotional impulsiveness with emotional honesty. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Strength begins the moment you pause. That pause is where clarity hides. The next time anger sparks, don't rush to respond. Just observe it like a scientist. This is anger. This is fear. This is insecurity. Naming the emotion separates you from the reaction. That distance, tiny as it seems, breaks the chain that usually pulls you into regret. Imagine what your life looks like if you live with that kind of control. Someone insults you, you refuse to let your peace be purchased by their words. Someone ignores you, you remain stable, because your worth doesn't depend on attention. Plans shift unexpectedly, you adapt without collapsing. Marcus Aurelius faced political betrayal, public criticism, and constant crisis. Yet he reminded himself every day, your mind is your kingdom. Not the external world. Not other people's behavior. Just your own inner decisions. A Stoic still feels deeply, but nothing has permission to control him. Try this simple ritual today in one moment of frustration. Pause. Even 1 second is enough. Breathe. Slow the reaction before it becomes automatic. Observe. Understand the emotion instead of obeying it. Respond. Choose your action consciously. Do this often enough, and your emotional world stops being a storm and becomes a landscape you can navigate. Affirmation. My emotions are present, but they do not command me. 3. Stop expecting life to be fair. Start expecting yourself to be strong. Here is a truth most people avoid because it feels uncomfortable. Life does not play by the rules we imagine. You can give everything you have and still lose. You can be loyal and still be forgotten. You can be kind and still be criticized. And none of that means the world is against you. It simply means the world is indifferent. Every time you expect life to be fair, you hand the world the power to disappoint you. You set yourself up for emotional debt. We live in a society where many people believe, if I work hard, the universe must reward me. But effort doesn't guarantee outcome. And the Stoics never pretended it would. They believed something stronger. Do the right thing not because you'll be rewarded, but because it aligns with who you choose to be. Marcus Aurelius endured disease, political conspiracies, and personal heartbreak. Yet he never wrote, "This isn't fair." Instead, he asked, "What action reflects my character right now?" That question is liberating. When you stop expecting fairness, you stop breaking every time life bends you. Because now, a rejection doesn't destroy you. It teaches you. A setback doesn't define you. It sharpens you. A betrayal doesn't break your spirit. It reveals your boundaries. The world becomes less personal, less hostile, less heavy. Fairness is external. Strength is internal. The Stoic understands this difference. He doesn't demand fairness from the world. He demands resilience from himself. So the next time you feel mistreated, overlooked, or misunderstood, remind yourself, it wasn't supposed to be fair. It was supposed to make me stronger. Then return your attention to what is within your control. Your discipline. Your decisions. Your attitude. Your effort. Your integrity. Life may deny you perfect outcomes, but it can't deny you the chance to rise above them. Your action today. Think of one moment that felt unfair. Reframe it by asking, what response would my strongest self choose right now? 4. Focus only on what you can control. One of the biggest sources of modern suffering is that we try to influence things that were never ours to command. We worry about what people think. We obsess over how others will react. We replay conversations in our heads, as if rewriting them will change reality. We plan every outcome, even though life has never once promised to follow our plans. And then, when something slips outside our expectations, we fall apart. The irony is this. Most of what keeps us awake at night lives completely outside our control. The Stoics understood this problem so clearly that they built their entire philosophy around one question. Is this within my control? Epictetus, born into slavery, rose to become one of history's most influential thinkers because he mastered this single distinction. Some things are up to us. Most things are not. What's up to you? Your actions. Your choices. Your attitude. Your effort. Your character. What's not up to you? Other people's thoughts. Other people's behavior. Accidents. Outcomes. The past. The future. The moment you blur this boundary, you suffer. The moment you honor it, you become free. Think about how much energy you lose worrying about things that simply don't answer to you. You can't control if someone respects you, only whether you behave respectably. You can't control how long an opportunity lasts, only how prepared you are when it arrives. You can't control the chaos of the world, only the clarity of your response. Most people are exhausted not because life is unbearably hard, but because they spend their days wrestling with things they were never meant to hold. They try to change people who don't want to change. They try to force outcomes they can't guarantee. They try to plan the future as if fate is taking notes. The Stoic doesn't live this way. He protects his energy by returning, again and again, to what is his. Imagine your peace of mind as a fortress. Every time you pour attention into what you cannot control, you open the gates and let chaos walk right in. But when you pull your focus back to your own actions, your own discipline, your own thoughts, you become anchored. The world may shake around you, but you no longer shake with it. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by upheaval. Yet he wrote daily reminders to himself about the same truth. You have power over your mind. Nothing more. He didn't mean it as resignation. He meant it as liberation. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you reclaim the energy to excel at what is within your reach. Try this simple practice today. Draw 2 circles on a piece of paper. In the first circle, write everything you can control. In the second, everything you can't. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, look at the paper. Redirect your attention to what belongs in the first circle. That is where your strength lives. That is where your peace returns. 5. Practice voluntary hardship. Modern life is engineered for comfort. And that comfort is quietly weakening us. Warm rooms. Instant meals. Soft beds. convenience at every corner. These things aren't bad. But when they become the default, something inside us begins to soften. We lose the edge that previous generations naturally developed through adversity. Most people today can't handle silence without reaching for their phone. Can't feel a little hunger without calling it suffering. Can't sit with boredom without stimulating themselves. The Stoics would say, "This isn't living. This is sedation." They practiced something called voluntary hardship. Not because they enjoyed pain, but because they understood that the human spirit decays without resistance. Seneca advised his students to occasionally live with less on purpose. Simple food, plain clothing, minimal comfort. Not as punishment, but as training. Because when you willingly embrace discomfort, you remove its power to frighten you later. Imagine how different your mind becomes when you're no longer terrified of inconvenience, hunger, silence, or challenge. When you no longer see discomfort as danger, but as a teacher. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men alive at his time, chose restraint even though he could have indulged in excess. Why? Because he understood a principle most people forget. Strength is built, not given. And the material of strength is discomfort. Ask yourself, when in your life did you grow the most? Was it when everything felt easy? Or was it when you were stretched, challenged, pushed past your limits? Growth never comes wrapped in comfort. So instead of waiting for hardship to find you, step into small challenges willingly. Wake up earlier than you prefer. Take a cold shower. Skip a luxury you don't need. Push yourself one step further in your discipline. These small acts rewire your brain. They teach you that discomfort isn't a threat. It's preparation. When real adversity eventually comes, you won't collapse. You'll adapt. You'll endure. You'll keep moving. Because you've trained for it. Choose one tiny hardship this week. Not to punish yourself, but to sharpen yourself. 6. Detach from outcomes and fall in love with the process. Look around and you'll notice something universal. People are obsessed with results. Likes, numbers, recognition, speed, validation. When results come, they feel worthy. When results don't come, they feel defeated. Without realizing it, they've tied their identity to outcomes they can't always control. The Stoics warned about this trap centuries ago. They understood that when your peace depends on results, your peace becomes unstable. Because results live in the external world, where chance and chaos rule. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, never let the future disturb you. Because every time you're fixated on the outcome, you abandon the only place where power actually exists. The present moment. You can influence your effort, but the outcome is never guaranteed. You can prepare perfectly, and still be met with a situation you didn't expect. Think about it. How many goals have you sabotaged because you demanded instant results? You start working out, but stop because you didn't see change fast enough. You begin a project, but quit because the numbers weren't what you hoped. You open your heart to someone, but close off because they didn't respond the way you wanted. In all these situations, the problem wasn't lack of ability. It was attachment. Attachment to a specific outcome. Attachment to how things should happen. Attachment to timelines you created in your mind. Stoicism teaches a different path. Do the work because the work itself shapes you, not because you expect a particular reward. When you fall in love with the process, you stop measuring your worth by external results. You measure it by your consistency, your integrity, your presence. This shift is powerful. Suddenly, the gym isn't a place to chase an ideal body. It's a place to practice discipline. Your job becomes not just a means to success, but a field where you develop resilience. Your relationships become opportunities to practice honesty and compassion, not tests you must pass. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care correctly. You still aim for success. You still put in effort. But your emotional state is no longer held hostage by how things turn out. When you detach, paradoxically, you perform better. Your mind becomes sharper, calmer, more capable. Because you're focused on what you can do right now, not on what you're afraid might happen later. Try this simple practice. At the start of your day, before you dive into your work, write one sentence. Today, I will focus on the action, not the outcome. And watch how your stress decreases. Watch how your clarity increases. Watch how your progress accelerates naturally. The Stoic understands that the finish line is not where strength is built. Strength is built in every small step along the way. Detach from outcomes. Love the process. That's where your power lives. 7. Remember death, so you can live with urgency. This principle may sound dark at first, but it's one of the most life-giving truths you will ever embrace. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They postpone everything that matters. Dreams, forgiveness, self-development, honesty, change. They're always planning to start tomorrow, as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But the Stoics repeated one reminder more than any other. Memento mori, remember that you will die. Not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short life, but that we waste much of it." He wasn't criticizing death. He was criticizing distraction. We lose years scrolling, worrying, hesitating, doubting, while the moments that truly matter quietly pass. When you remember death, something shifts. Your priorities rearrange themselves. Suddenly the things that once upset you seem trivial. The things you postponed start calling your name. Mortality clarifies. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire, repeated to himself daily, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." For him, this wasn't a threat. It was guidance. A compass pointing him toward purpose. Because when you understand that time is borrowed, you stop living on autopilot. You stop delaying your courage. You stop postponing the life you keep saying you want. Ask yourself, if today were your last ordinary day, what would suddenly matter more? Who would you forgive? What dream would you stop rejecting? What truth would you finally speak? What step would you stop delaying? These questions are not morbid. They are clarifying. Death doesn't make life meaningless. It makes it urgent, precious, real. Living with urgency does not mean rushing. It means being awake. It means understanding that your time is limited, and therefore infinitely valuable. Living with urgency means choosing presence over distraction, action over hesitation, purpose over comfort. Try this tonight. Write down 3 things you would regret not doing if tomorrow never came. Then choose one, and begin it this week. Even a single step is enough. What matters is that you begin. Because life is not waiting, and never has. The Stoic does not prepare for immortality. He prepares to live fully while he is still here. 8. Live by virtue, not validation. At the end of your life, one truth will become painfully clear. No amount of applause will save you from regret. The likes, the praise, the approval. All of it fades faster than you think. Yet most people spend their lives performing for an audience that isn't even watching closely. We shape ourselves around what others expect. We change our opinions to fit in. We silence our truth to avoid judgment. We chase validation as if it can fill the spaces inside us that only integrity can reach. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that validation is unstable currency. It rises and falls based on the moods and preferences of other people. Virtue, on the other hand, is the only form of wealth you can never lose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." He didn't care about appearing virtuous. He cared about being virtuous. And that difference changes everything. The world wants you to be impressive. Stoicism wants you to be aligned. The world wants you to perform. Stoicism wants you to live with principle. When you depend on validation, you become a prisoner of perception. You live cautiously, constantly editing yourself, constantly scanning the room for approval. You start choosing what is popular instead of what is honest. What is comfortable instead of what is right. But when you live by virtue, you become internally anchored. Your behavior is no longer dictated by who is watching. Your choices are no longer shaped by what others might think. You act from principle, not performance. That is freedom. Virtue is quiet strength. Telling the truth even when lying would make you look better. Choosing kindness when you gain nothing from it. Honoring your word even when no one would know if you broke it. These small decisions shape your soul more than any achievement ever will. Seneca once said that true character rejoices even when unseen. Meaning, doing the right thing should matter even if no one claps for it. Think about the people you admire most. Not the loudest. Not the most famous. But the ones whose presence feels grounded, sincere, unwavering. Their strength doesn't come from external praise. It comes from a life lived by values instead of impulses. If you want to live like that, choose one core virtue. Honesty, courage, discipline, compassion. And practice it quietly for a day. Don't post about it. Don't announce it. Don't tell anyone. Just live it. You will feel the difference immediately. Your decisions become clearer. Your mind becomes quieter. Your sense of self becomes stronger. Because every time you choose virtue over validation, you build a version of yourself that cannot be shaken by public opinion. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the moments you acted with integrity, especially when it was difficult, are the moments that shaped who you became. Validation fades. Virtue remains. You've now walked through 8 Stoic principles. 8 shifts in perspective that can transform the way you experience the world. Not by making your life easier, but by making you stronger. Discomfort teaches you resilience. Emotional discipline gives you clarity. Letting go of fairness brings peace. Focusing on what you control brings freedom. Voluntary hardship builds strength. Detachment from outcomes deepens presence. Remembering mortality adds urgency. Living by virtue builds a life you respect. These 8 ideas, when practiced daily, become more than philosophy. They become armor. Not armor that separates you from life, but armor that helps you walk through life with steadiness, clarity, and purpose. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a storm. Chaos around you, noise everywhere. And yet your mind remains calm. Your heart steady. Your direction clear. This is what Stoicism was built for. Not to numb you. Not to make you indifferent. But to give you the strength to stay centered. In a world that constantly tries to pull you off balance. Most people drift through life reacting, spiraling, absorbing. But you don't have to be one of them. You can live differently. You can live deliberately. If these principles resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on which one spoke the loudest. Maybe it was embracing discomfort. Maybe it was emotional discipline. Maybe it was living with urgency. Or maybe it was the reminder to stop performing and start being. Whichever it was, choose one principle and begin practicing it today. Not tomorrow. Not when life feels easier. Today. Change doesn't happen in dramatic leaps. It happens with quiet consistency. With small decisions repeated enough times to reshape who you are. Your mind is your strongest tool. Your character is your greatest defense. And your peace is your most valuable possession. Protect it fiercely. You are not meant to be controlled by the world. You are meant to rise above it. With strength, with clarity, with intention. This is your invitation to live not reactively, but powerfully. Not unconsciously, but consciously. Not like everyone else, but like someone building a life they are proud of. Your Stoic journey begins not with reading, but with doing. Choose your principle. Start today. And walk forward with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that nothing external can shake the fortress within.